Hi, I'm back and I have a really fun project, I think, for you. If you want to work along with me, I will give you measurements. I will also uh, link all the any papers or kits, which it's all from Vibe Vintage printables on Etsy or Lady Black Blood printables on Etsy, but I will have them linked. I'll link them below. Um, it's might be two, it might be three, but the main one is the like background papers, and then I did get the uh, clusters and I printed them in two different sizes so that I have the large and then I print them smaller. And I also got these envelopes. Those aren't really postal, but I had to have them. So I got those. As well as she had these tags. And I printed, not this, but it's a set that looks like this. And I used them in here, so I'm a little short on them. But before I show you the papers, I'll just give you a flip through of what we'll be making. It may not be exact, but it's all the same papers, and we will do the elements from the inside. So that should be fun. So, of course, these are her papers, and this I print on cardstock. I did double the cardstock, which I will show you when we go and start the new one. And I always print double-sided, so that I just do that for me. But when you open it, this is just acetate, and I did it was printed on. It's printable acetate, and I did print on it. I have no idea from what paper it was. I just have the printable acetate that I printed some of my favorite papers from onto, and that's what I use. I just grabbed from my stash. But it's not a pocket. It's just strictly for decoration. There is no pocket. This could be a little bit of a tuck spot right here, but this is just for looks. There's no real use there. Then we have this flap, which is kind of packed full. Here's a little pocket. Take that out. This long piece is also a pocket, which I have all these in. And then when you flip it, here is a tuck spot, which is one of those envelopes, which I have one of the little pictures in from the kit. You get in the kit. Why won't you come out, Mr. Picture? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. No, I didn't glue you in there. And I didn't think you were that tight. It's just a picture of the post office. So what mail carrier wouldn't carry around a picture of the post office, right? I'm sure that's a thing. Anyway, that sits in there. Then this side, I used the clusters that I printed, and I just put like all kinds of stamps or little words and things also from the kit, and I just stuffed them in. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then when you open it, here is the tablet area, and again I just used a piece of the printed acetate, so you can see there's like lines on it. And I used these instead of as my hinge, actually. because I like when my tablet, or what I'm using as a tablet, can be changed out if you actually write on it, or added to if you find something you like better. So all you have to do is open those, push them through, and all this comes out. These are glued on, so those do not. But all this can come out. So if you prefer not to have the acetate on there, or you have different papers you want to use, you just stack them together, put the holes in, and I always do that. It's just me. And then there's a little pocket in here for some tags, maybe a little note or something. Then on this side we have another little area, 2 flaps, and there's 2 circles here. I don't know if you can see them. Those are just to reinforce the cardstock. I just feel that with having the brad in and then the string, that there's a little tension on there. I like to reinforce the cardstock. And I do have some washi tape that to help reinforce all the places it bends. Then in here, which it just opens like that, I just stuck another one of these, as you don't have to use it, but to just help kind of hold so you don't have anything flapping. Especially if it's shorter, you can tuck it in there a little bit. And I'll just reconnect all this. And I put a little loop on the bottom so I can put a charm or something on. But that is that's it. So, oh, didn't put these back. So that's what I was gonna remake, bring yous along with me, so you don't have to have this kit. You don't have to, here's all the rest of the tags. You don't have to have this kit. You can work with papers you have already. I know some of yous don't have printers, so you wouldn't be able to print the kit even if you wanted to, but don't worry about it. Pick the theme you want. It could be any theme at all. I happen to love like business, accounting, postal, travel. That's just sort of what I love. So I'll set that aside, and let me show you through what the papers are. Now, I kind of set these aside because on top of everything else, I have the washi tape that I haven't even used yet, so I'm excited about that. And I picked another piece of acetate that I'm going to use in the new one, and I think that will be pretty cool. Again, I couldn't tell you who it's from. I just printed a whole bunch one day of all different ones and keep them in my stash. So, whoop, that envelope, where'd that envelope? This might be from Tracy Fox, actually. A free digital kit that she, not kit, a free digital page that she offered a long time ago. And I printed a couple out, and I just cut it and made it into an envelope. And so I showed you those. So the kit, I actually have it printed out. Here was another envelope from somewhere free. I didn't buy any of those that I know of. printed the kit, I printed them with a border which I already cut off. So you may, if you can print without a border, do that. But I use the Canon app, and it just doesn't give me a place to print without a border. So here's one page, and a lot of them are meant to be like folded in half as your journaling pages, which I love and I take advantage of. There's another one, and you may notice that's the cover that I used on the one I have. Okay, don't want to get them all. There's this one. Now none of these, I didn't print any of these with anything on the back, because these papers will be what I put away in my binder of digital kits. So for that, I don't print on the back. Then this page, oh, I printed 2 of these out because I love that page. Then you get these type of pages. So let me turn that around. So these I did print front and back, and you see the different design on them. There's another one over here, and now we're down to my group. So hope I didn't mix them up too bad. So these are the group that are not printed on the, for the most part, not printed on the back. Here's the group we're going to be using, and I can print, or well, I can print if I need more. This is the page I chose to use as my cover this time, or this one. And this is 2 pieces of cardstock printed on one side each and glued together. I did that because I knew I could then choose this side or this side to make the cover for the whole journal. So I wanted to get that all glued and super dry so that we wouldn't have to watch me do that on camera. Then I printed a lot of these double-sided because I will be using them. So I printed them. Some of them are cardstock, and then the type that I think would make good for writing, I printed on just paper, but I did still double. I printed these on just paper. That was from a different Vibe of Vintage kit that I just wanted to, I wanted to see what it would look like, and I just felt it was a little too dark, so I don't know if I'll actually use that page, but I do have all these that I plan to use as my tablet, and if I need more I will print out more. So let's get this put away. So again, this is the one I've chosen, and I doubled it so it's really sturdy. Then after I glued them together, which I used 3-in-1 glue because it really gives me the time to move it around if I need to, which I always do. This I used, which is to roughen up the edges. Now I didn't use it on this yet because I was saving that, but I did use this on the original folio. I also used the archival ink in coffee, and I used my kind of coffee splatter. As you can see, I already did some of that. So I will be using this throughout on all the pages. I also have my Tim Holtz coffee marks, which I will also get out and use here and there. And whenever I do that, I always put this sheet down because I can clean it afterwards with alcohol, and it gets pretty clean. So we're just going to start. I glued these together. Again, mine had a border. If yours does not, your size will be a little bit bigger. I can give you a close guesstimation here. These are 10 and 1, 2, and 3/8. 10 and 3/8. 10 and 3/8 by 7 and 1, 2, 7 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/16. So round up or down, make it easy. Round up or down. My end, because of the board, taking off the border, always ends up a weird measurement, and I just work around it, right? So if you don't have one of these little gadgets, just use your scissor. I think sometimes that works even a little better, although mine may be dull because I do abuse it. And I already inked the sides, but then I like to go back and just use this. Then I quickly re-ink, which is why I wanted to get a jump on this. Otherwise, we'd be here all night. And I usually make my cover first because that allows me to know the parameters of what I'm working with all my pages and stuff. Otherwise, I just go all willy-nilly and everything's different. Okay. And we want it grungy, so let's really, don't be afraid. Okay, let's just give it a little, let me empty this. Okay, now I'm gonna get my ink back out and just give it a once over, which is why this to me comes in handy, because then I can really darken the edges by doing this. Now that I ate into the edges with the tool, I want to really grunge them back up again. And I will flip it. I'm really torn on which side I want to use as my front cover and inside cover. I thought I had my mind made up. Now that I'm looking, I'm a little torn. Okay. Once over on the edges here. I think that looks pretty grungy. Okay. So this is where I must make up my mind, and that's going to be really hard. This could be my cover, or I could do this as my cover. And originally I really wanted to use this as my cover because where'd it go? Because the other one has a picture. It's that picture. and I just thought I wanted a completely different look. So I guess I'll stick with my original plan and use this as my cover. For me, I feel like I can decorate the front of it a little bit more. If I don't have someone's picture on it, then I feel like I can't cover it. Weird. Okay, now you know. Now you know. In the original, you see, I did use, I believe, this on the inside. It's under this, so maybe it's a little too hard. Maybe I have it too covered, but so now if I use this as my cover, this will be the inside of the cover. Now I'm gonna find the center, but I want my spine to be a 1/2 inch. Now this is the fabric tape that I made on my channel months ago, where you just buy fabric medical tape. I got mine at the dollar outlet, but you can get it at Walmart, and then you just stamp on it and use your inks on it, and I really like it. It really reinforces the spine, and I like that. Okay, so let's see, what do we have? 5 5, so it would be okay, right about there. That's, I believe, where it says the center would be. Let me get one of my pencils. So I'm just going to 1, 2, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that. Okay. I'm just double checking. Okay, so if that's the center, we want to score here and here. That's where we're scoring. And I just want to mark it on the bottom, just in case. I'm not really going by the bottom, but okay, there and there. Now I will bring my heavy duty large scoring thing. Get my scoring tool. Now this will take a little muscle, go slow. It's better to do a couple passes rather than try to get it all done in 1 or 2, because it is really thick. So I'm going to line up. I actually I picked 1 number and I stayed away from the seam. I picked 2 numbers actually, but and I put a marker line in there all the way down. That way when I line up my scoring mark and I line up the bottom scoring mark, I can make sure I'm on the same line, because I know that runs all the way through. So I have 2 marks that have that, just in case that's a little handy for you. And or if you wonder why people do that, it's so that I know I stay on track and my bottom is lining up with the top. Alright, so I'm going to start, because it's very easy when it's this thick to go off course. So you want to make a few passes instead of, and let me move that one. Okay. 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 I don't know if you can see that, but we will ink it so you can see. Let me fold it. And we will ink it. This one. And ink it. That quickly, that easily, we now have our cover. Do the inside. I really wouldn't have to because I'm going to be putting washi tape over it, but we want it authentic. So if you see through the washi tape. Okay. There we go. There it is. Now, I'm not going to just quickly, I'm not going to throw washi tape down right away. I could on the front, but on the inside, because if I want to, let me see, over here, I put this pocket under this cutout, so that is what we're going to do here. I'm going to do a cutout piece, so I'm going to pick a piece of card stock from the kit and cut the whole center out. Okay, I don't want the writing one, so we're going to cut the whole center out, and then that will be, I'm thinking of using that because I need I think I'll use the top more. Okay, so I kind of want it to go, I don't want it to be too tight of a fit. So I'd rather, I'll cut it, if it's too big a little, we can trim it. All right, put the ink away and get out my cutting. Take away the scoring. Okay. All right, so that will be my then this will be my mark down here. I use this to cut out, so I don't want it to go too far. Why does that look not straight? What? I will say I do tend to, when I'm cutting, press the button too hard, which I think wiggles the wire. I wish there was a way to tighten that up, but I don't believe there is. So I have to trim that. close with such a tiny piece, the blade just kind of bends the paper down. And I have been doing a ton of cutting, so move that aside. We're going to rough it up now, because once I cut the center out, it's harder to try and hold on to the thinner pieces, because I only leave like, I think it's 3/4 of an inch all the way around, so that's what I'm gonna stick to. Now, if you're doing it, you can easily make yours a pocket. I usually make mine a pocket, but I just felt this time I'm gonna switch it up, and no pocket was made. Strictly decoration. You can kind of see why a lot of creators just fast forward through it, but no, not me. All right. I think that's good enough. I'm also going to ink it before I move on and cut the center out. And I'm going to do it like this, because I like a wide inking. If I just do this, I get a much thinner ink on just the bottom, but all about the grunge, so. And I know with some of these inks, when I do it on here, if I then try a little squirt of water, some don't really do anything, but if you use the distress ink and do it on here, then you can squirt water on it and smush it around and just wipe your papers through it, and it gets really cool markings and staining and distressing. Really cool, but it doesn't do it as easily with these. These are not water. Okay, we don't have to do the other side, because we will be cutting that and pasting it. All right. Now, open up. No, it's not going on this side. I'm just catching my measurements here. Okay. It still looks like I'm a little heavy there, or I didn't trim, but it's okay. We're going to make it work. I think it's partially because I really distressed that, didn't I? Okay, so I'm going to do, I think, 3/4 of an inch all the way around. Oh, I was a little ahead of myself there. So, alright, so I'm going to measure in 3/4 all the way around. So, 3/4. Quarters. Whoop. Missed the line anyway. Thought I had my pencil on it. Okay, 3/4. Then we're going to go with, whoops, 3/4 all the way around. So, oh, I see my wobbly ends. That's what's knocking me off a little bit, are my wobbly ends. And when I put this on my cutter, I can make sure the line is a little more straight, because it has the wire, and the wire shows me where it's more straight than my eyeball. Oh my goodness. Measure. Measure. Okay. Put that back. Put that back. Now, the reason, even though this will measure my line, or not measure, but keep me in line, I do all my lines all the way over so that I know on here where to stop. So if I put that here, I know because I missed my line there. So I'm gonna start. There's a little notch right there. I hope I don't get my head in the way. I'll put it there. And then put it there, there. Just try to see how far I have to cut or rip or pull. Okay. Hard for me to see exactly where I am here, but we'll do what we can. Okay. All right. That one. That one. Okay. We'll probably have plans for some of that. So now we can put that back in. Before I do that, let's rough some of the edges. A little bit more gentle than what I'm used to. A little more careful, but we will get it done. And I really like the grungy look of the rough. When you roughen up the edges, I like that look. Really. Okay. Now I'm just gonna Goodness, it's so much fun. I used to be afraid to cut out for my pockets and stuff. It was such a high stress for me. I have no idea why. And once I thought, well, you know what? If it's crooked, it's because it wants to be crooked. Just get rid of that stress. Like, not gonna ruin my grungy project all because it's a little crooked. Okay, this is the side that I use my wider tape because it gives me a reason to finally use some of my wide tape. And I tape as close as I can to the inside. I want to leave some paper outside because that's where I want to put the glue. I think the liquid glue holds better. If it's not, I could be wrong. If it's not on the tape, that's just me, but I'm just saying. Okay. I don't get too often a chance to use this super wide. It's a 1/2 inch tape. Okay, and one more. There we go. Now, before I go any further, I want to get my acetate here. I'm just gonna, that's what it looks like. Just wanted to give a slightly better view so you can see. It will be something like this, or that, or that, or that. So I think I'm going to use that, and I don't want, if you can see, I don't know if you can see that, there's, what can I use so maybe you can see that a little better. So I don't know if you can see, there's like a 1/4 inch of just clear because there's a border all the way around it. But in this case, I can use that border on the inside instead of trimming all the border off and then waste. I can actually use that border as where I want to do that. So I'm gonna mark it, and it's always hard for me to see because I can't tell where it is. So I'm going to, as long as I leave a little bit of the paper behind the acetate. Okay, let's see. Hoping I can see that. All right, let's get this. I might have to remeasure because I can lose it easily. Okay, I see it right there. Even when it's in here like that, I can tend to lose it. Where to go? Oh, there it is. No, wait, I'm gonna have to move it out of my way, and even then I may have to trim it. Then over here, I'm just gonna try not to cut through the whole piece, but we know it's about down to here. Let's see. little feather. Okay. Get it out. And right there's my mark. Whoop. Oh, I bumped it. Right there's my mark. I'll move it in. Oh, I guess I didn't cut down far enough. Oh, get out my scissors. Okay. And open it. Put that on. So we're gonna first get my needle and try to get the backing off. That's always fun. Just wanted to make sure I had the right way up. To remind myself so that I don't stick this on upside down. I already have to remember to keep it right side up so it's not reversed backwards. It gets complicated. Okay. Get this. There we go. All right. Whoop. Bent my needle. Okay, so that's the bottom. So we are going to go right there. There we go. There we go. So now, whoop, what did I do? So now it will be like that. Now, if you want, you can round the edges because you're gluing it all the way down anyway. So you can round the edges. Did I do that on this? Yes, I did. I rounded the edges. Or you can leave it plain. But we're going to glue it down. I don't want to glue it down yet because I want to make a flip flap that will go under here. So I don't want to glue that down just yet. But that's how it will look. Hope there's not too much glitter. Oh, glitter. That's not what I meant at all, is it? But that's what it will look like. I think that's pretty cool. So tomorrow we will do the flap part, which is this whole pocket part, and glue it under, and we will get that rolling tomorrow. So or the next day, it depends. Okay, well, that's what we got done. I think that looks pretty cool, and I think having this as my front, I can now do, I feel I can, it opens me up to doing a little more decorating on the cover, which I'm excited about. So, all right, we're done here for today. Please come back and join me for part 2. And until then, stay creative and hugs.